Oh, there's a codex entry about the Order of Fiery Promise. Consider the time in which the original Inquisition existed. The First Blight had devastated the world, tearing down the mighty Tevinter Imperium and leaving nothing in its place. Just as there were several cults of Andraste vying to become the true inheritor of the Prophet's faith, there was more than one group claiming to represent the one true path to deliver the world from chaos. The Order of Fiery Promise was one of these. A band of men and women who decreed that not only was the end of the world nigh, it was necessary. Thedas must be cleansed with fire and reborn as a paradise. This they solemnly promised. They devoted themselves utterly to seeing this come about. Whether they ever drew close to their goal is unknown. Inquisition eventually crushed these promisers during a battle recorded only as the Cleansing of Chernow. The cult reappeared in the early Divine Age, claiming to take up the Inquisition's mantle after it had transformed into the Seekers of Truth, leading to the Chantry hunts that did not see the Promisers eliminated again until the Exalted Age. Brother Jenna TV lore. You'll love to see it. So the interesting thing about this, though, is that consider a time in which the original Inquisition existed. So the First Blight devastated the world. There was nothing. Like, the First Blight was awful because it was the First Blight. Like, there was no, like, established anything. There was no record of how it had been defeated in the past. So you kind of can see, like, that was the trial by fire era of the Blight. We didn't have the Grey Wardens like we do now, especially like we had in DAO. There was no knowing certain things. You were learning as you went. But tearing down the mighty Tevinter Imperium and leaving nothing in its place. So Tevinter's devastated. The Blight has just devastated everything. A group that is saying that the only way to like free Thedas, to get Thedas back in working order kind of thing, is to cleanse it with fire. And the level of trauma that people have probably gone through in this age, given everything that had happened to them, it would make sense. Like, the Order of Fiery Promise 100% makes sense. And you could make the case, even though Brother Jenna TV doesn't necessarily say it here, that they claim, well, he actually did, he claims that they mentioned that they were, you know, from the Inquisition, even though they technically probably were not. But you can see how they would come about from the Seekers of Truth, how they would come about from the era of the First Inquisition, how they would probably have been, in essence, probably a rogue sect of the Inquisition itself, because the Inquisition was fighting so many things at once, so many awful things happening all at the same time, and that there were people that were probably pushed past their breaking point. And here's the Order of Fiery Promise. So I do love how this all ties together. So you can see why they would claim that they are Seekers, why they claim that they're the original Seekers, why they claim that their order is actually correct and not the Cassandra Seekers, because the Inquisition is what created the Seekers in the end. You know what I mean? So like the Inquisition, and then we have the Seekers. So the way that all ties together is absolutely brilliant. I do love these codex entries. I can't get enough of them. They're so good. That throne is intimidating. Also, though, I do believe is there more? I feel like there's more lore up here. Or it's the other side. Is there not? I thought there was. Is it you? No, but I'll take that. No, let's go double check the other side. For some reason, I thought there was a codex entry up here. Is there no... I thought there was another side to it. Might not be. Where you got, Jen? Oh, there's a whole other side up here. Aha. And then you got the red lyrium chest here, which should give you some clues as to what is actually happening around these parts. So I guess that was the only codex entry. Oh, I kind of wish there was more. Kind of had thought that there was another. That's fine. Okay. Let's go see if we can find ourselves a Lord Seeker. Oh no, not this.
Daniel!
Oh
Daniel!
no. Daniel!
Can you hear me?
Cassandra. It is you. You're alive.
As are you. I'm so glad I found you.
No, put a demon inside me. It's tearing me up.
What? You can't be possessed. That's impossible.
I'm not possessed. They fed me things. I can feel it growing.
Can we help?
Can we do anything?
I don't know. This thing inside him.
The Lord Seeker. You have to find him.
Of course we'll find him. If he lives, we'll...
Lucius betrayed us, Cassandra. He sent us here, one by one. An important mission, he said. Lies. He was here with them all along. He's still working with them.
But we met the Lord Seeker, didn't we?
But we met Lord Seeker Lucius in Val Royeaux. He couldn't have been here.
Did we, Jen?
That wasn't him.
There we go.
It was a demon, masquerading.
What? How could that be?
The Lord Seeker allowed it. He let the demon take command while he...
Came here.
Yeah.
If we find the Lord Seeker, he's dead.
Wait. Don't leave me like this, please.
You should have come with me. You didn't believe in the war any more than I did.
You know me. I wanted that promotion.
Go to the Maker's side, Daniel. You will be welcome.
I wish they didn't put her combat face on right there, though.
He was my apprentice. I have never known a finer young man. Now we find Lord Seeker Lucius.
Agreed. The one thing I do appreciate about that scene in particular was that you didn't have to make that decision for Cassandra. Like, she made that decision all by herself. She did that. You know what I mean? Like, she honored his wish and everything. I'm just so happy that they didn't insert some extra, like, hey, you need to make that decision for Cassandra, because that definitely would have felt weird. Or, like, just even an interrupt. Like, I'm glad we didn't even have an interrupt going, like, if you can, I can, or you can do, you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad we just were bystanders in a respectful way, because I think that that's all Cassandra needed. Was she about to get some answers from... Where is that going? No. Oh, was I trying to hit you? Girl, up. Uppies. Remember, you got the high ground, Jen. Jen, you do better on the high ground, sweetie. I don't know how high the high ground gotta be, but it's high. This. Okay. Oh, and then that. All right. In here? So the question is, after we do this, I don't know if I want to go to the Emerald Graves again. Then get all that rocking and rolling, or go to the plains. Because with Ivy's Let's Play, we went to the plains after the ball. And the dialogue is slightly different there after and before. So because we haven't done the ball yet, just to kind of show the difference in like recent times, I'm thinking we might go after this. And we can also get Solus's quest done, which should be very interesting to do. So maybe we'll do that next, and then we'll go back to the Emerald Graves after. But I also want to go to the Emprise du Lion soon. That area is stunning. I just forget if there's anything else tied to that. There's also like a thing for the ball there too, which is kind of interesting. Like somebody that should have been there but wasn't.
Lord Seeker Lucius.
Cassandra, with a woman I can only assume is the new Inquisitor.
I am. It's, I'd love to say it's a pleasure to meet you, but it's really and truly not. You have a lot to answer for.
You must be very proud of your handiwork.
I presume you know we Seekers of Truth were once the original Inquisition.
I do.
Oh yes. We fought to restore order in a time of madness long ago, as you do now. And we became proud. We sought to remake the world, to make it better. But what did we create? The Chantry, the circles of Magi, A war that will see no end.
It's interesting that he's adding in the Circle of Magi, because that then implies that he doesn't think that that was the right thing. So what is the right thing then? Like, I wish we had heard that, like what he would have rathered instead. So you betrayed your people.
You lured your entire order to their deaths.
There was no other choice.
There's always a choice.
No other choice? Have you gone mad?
We Seekers are abominations, Cassandra.
Literally.
We created a decaying world and fought to preserve it even as it crumbled. We had to be stopped. You don't believe me? See for yourself. The secrets of our order passed to me after the former Lord Seeker was slain. The war with the mages had already begun, but it was not too late for me to do the right thing.
How is this the right thing? Like, how?
And this was the right thing.
Lord Seeker, what you've done.
I know. What Corypheus did with the Templars does not matter. I have seen the future. I have created a new order to replace the old. The world will end so we can start anew. A pure beginning. Join us, Cassandra. It is the Maker's will.
I think the most interesting thing is you could heavily make the case that he finally read the book, if you will, that Cassandra's gonna get with the secrets. Or not finally, but he read the book and he hasn't been able to live with it. Like, I don't know how you do.
He was insane. He had to be.
Had to be.
The influence of Corypheus, perhaps? Was he trying to disable the Seekers?
So much weight. If so, it worked.
If so, the plan worked perfectly.
He could not have destroyed all of us. I won't accept it. Let us return to Skyhold. I wish to see what's in this book of secrets.
Okay. So, like, you can absolutely, by the way, this view is stunning. Like, the lighting in this game, so good. But you can absolutely make the case that he read the book, right? He read this book of secrets. He learned everything that was in there, and then he tried to live with it. And he tried to live with it again and again and day after day, and it started eating at him. And then he saw what Meredith was doing in Kirkwall. And then he saw what happened with what Anders did in DA2. And he realized that there was a way that he could have prevented it a long time ago if people had just known the truth. The truth of the Seekers, the truth of the right of tranquility, all that other stuff. And the fact that he didn't say anything, the fact that he didn't try to change course, drove him insane. And it drove him to want to work with Corypheus. Or at least let Corypheus give him an out. So he wanted to burn it all to the ground and start over. Because he still thought the Seekers in and themselves deserved, like, had a noble purpose. It's just not these Seekers. So he's so, like, that, it's so good. It's so incredibly good because it's not easy. Like, literally, Lucius is not an easy to like or easy to hate character. Just because there is so much to him and to what he went through. And what the Seekers did and went through. That view is so pretty, though. Please, this view. I'm obsessed. All right, let's go, Cassandra. Let's see this book of secrets. No, not Here Lies the Abyss. Wait, I have that all. Oh, right. Western Approach, Hissing Waste, Forbidden Oasis. Right, we got all that. No, I want to go home. Take me home. Yes, please. Would you like to travel? Yes, please. Whenever it asks, I'm like, yeah, I would like a ride back home. Thank you. I don't want to have to walk so far. I don't actually know how to get back home either from where we were at all. All right, girl. Let's have this oh, and then we might have a conversation with Bull to get his personal quest rocking and rolling, which will be interesting. Cassandra.
This tome has passed from Lord Seeker to Lord Seeker since the time of the old Inquisition. And now it falls to me.
You seem upset.
You're all right. You look drained.
Do you know what the right of tranquility is? The last resort used on mages in the Circle, leaving them unable to cast, but depriving them of dreams and all emotion. It should only be used on those who cannot control their abilities, but that has not always been the case.
Cassandra. Like, I admire the fact that Cassandra's like, that's not always been the case. And it's like, like, literally, it's probably hasn't been always the case, and I use that in air quotes, since it was created. Like, to think that anybody would only use it for the purpose that it was intended for, given how much power it can actually give somebody over somebody else's, like, power-hungry people exist in every instance in every age, so yeah, this has been abused time and time and time again.
Deprived of all emotion. That sounds...
I always thought it a necessary evil. What finally began the Mage Rebellion was the discovery the right of tranquility could be reversed. The Lord Seeker at the time covered it up, harshly. There were deaths. It was dangerous knowledge, the shock of its discovery in addition to what happened in Kirkwall. But it appears we've always known how to reverse the right, from the beginning.
This is a great way, because all of that happened, I believe, was like in books and comics, what Cassandra's talking about right there, outside of Kirkwall, of course. Like, what happened in Kirkwall, we all saw in DA 2, but what actually caused the uprising, that was in book/comics, and I really appreciate the fact that she summed it up in a way that if you had read them, you don't feel like you're being told again what happened. Like, it just feels like part of the natural order of the conversation. But if you didn't read the books, if you didn't learn all of that from that, and you're new to the series even, and you have no idea how the rebellion started, this is a great way to introduce it without feeling too like she's telling too much.
Why keep that knowledge a secret?
We created the right of tranquility. To become a Seeker, I spent months in a vigil, emptying myself of all emotion. I was made tranquil and didn't even know. Then the vigil summoned the spirit of faith to touch my mind. That broke tranquility and gave me my abilities. The Seekers did not share that secret. Not with me, not with the Chantry, not even with... There's more. Lucius was not wrong about the Order. I thought to rebuild the Seekers once victory was ours. Now I'm not certain it deserves to be rebuilt.
The interesting thing is how she said, like, not even with the Chantry. But the Chantry came about because of the Inquisition, because of the Seekers of Truth and stuff like that. So at some point, you gotta think the Chantry knew. At some point. And for all we know, the Chantry still knows. But Cassandra is through and through a big fan of the Chantry, and that might be a thought, a line that she's not ready to cross yet. That might be a line that she's never ready to cross. But the fact that you as the player, or you as like your character, like depending on how you're playing this, like if you're immersively role-playing it, or if you're just kind of playing and thinking about the lore as you go, you can go there. You can wonder, did they actually know and hide it this whole time? And if so, oh, you know what I mean? What else is in the book?
You said there was more in the book.
At some point, power becomes its own master.
Yes.
We cast aside ideals in favor of expedience and tell ourselves it was all necessary for the people. Will that happen to us, Inquisitor? Will we repeat history?
I love that that's a question, because you're running the Inquisition. Like, Jen is in charge of something people haven't seen in a very... I mean, nobody alive in theory except for the spirits remember it. And so, will she? Will she repeat history? I don't know. I don't think anybody can know at this point.
I can't foresee the future, Cassandra.
But we know the past.
We do.
Those who do not heed history are doomed to repeat it.
Agreed. Agreed. How would you rebuild?
If you did rebuild the Seekers, how would you do it?
I can't be the only one remaining. We will always spread to the winds, and some may still be out there. I would find them one by one. We would all read this book, no more secrets. Then together we would establish a new charter. The Maker's work in truth.
But what is the Maker's work?
You keep saying that, but what is the Maker's work?
There is no way to know for certain. That is why we must seek it out. Perhaps we lost our way because we stopped looking.
Perhaps. Your faith has been shaken?
I don't think I've ever seen you so shaken.
I do not think the Seekers have been doing the Maker's work. Not truly. Perhaps we believed it once. The original Inquisition came to be during a terrible time. But now, we harbored secrets and let them fester. We acted to survive, but not to serve. That is not the Maker's work.
It's up to you. This is your choice, Cassandra. Where you go, what you do, you should be the one to make that choice.
That's not for me to decide, Cassandra.
Thank you. I could not have done this on my own.
You're welcome. I love that so much. Wait. Codex, Rite of Tranquility. Can we just see that now? What is that going to be under? History, maybe? No. No. Magic? Yes. So we called it the Rite of Tranquility, a mind branded with lyrium, brought to a state devoid of either emotion or a sense of self. So the funny thing is, they tell you time and time again in the game, you lose your emotion. But the sense of self that you lose is probably the most horrific part of it. Like, yes, like you need both to be a complete person, but losing your sense of self because you've lost all emotion and basically the will to do anything for you, the will to dream, the will to, like, literally and figuratively dream, the will to love, the ability to be sad, any of it. You lose everything that is you. Like that, it's terrifying. It's a terrifying thought. And I wish we we played a lot into the Rite of Tranquility in DA2. And I love that we hit that so hard in there. And I wish we saw it more. Honestly, I wish like DAI, like we're dealing with it, but I don't think we're dealing with it in a way that makes it as scary as it is. And like DAO, when you saw that mage in the tower, when you were fighting through the circle, and you just see that mage still there who's a tranquil, and he's just whatever about it. Like he had stuff to clean, shop to run, whatever it was. And he knew he was fine, but there was nothing there like that. And like also seeing it from a mage origin perspective, like everything that you go through there, that's also just freaking terrifying. I wish DAI and as well as DATV really leaned into tranquility a lot more in that as a theme, as a thing to talk about. Just because it's dark and it's scary to think that you could lose your sense of self by being branded and you don't have a choice. Like some people, yes. Like we have heard, I believe, of instances where people will like voluntarily do this because they know that they can't control themselves and they'd rather do this than die. But it's the people that are forced, for the wrong reasons. And yeah, I can't imagine. And the rite was required to achieve the true peace that could draw a spirit of faith from the depths of the Fade, a difficult task, considering a tranquil mind is all but invisible to these beings. Dear goodness. The candidate must be pure. If the candidate proved worthy, the spirit would touch his mind, and he would be freed from tranquility, as well as made into a seeker in truth. So interesting. It's a seeker's a truth, but a seeker in truth. Like it's interesting how that wording is slightly different. I do think that that's important. If he proved unworthy, tranquility was permanent. It was only later when the first mage attempted to join our order and failed that we learned tranquility rendered a mage unable to access his magic. as well as immune to demonic possession. Thus, when the Circle of Magi was born, we gave them the most holy right we possessed. It was a sacrifice we made for the good of all, so dangerous mages could be spared execution and yet live productive and harmonious lives. What we did not give them was the secret of its reversal. That knowledge and our ancient bond with the spirits of faith shall forever be solely ours to keep. So that's a excerpt from the tome. That's something, right? Like, spared execution and yet live productive and harmonious lives. You could 100% make the case that this is worse than execution. Depending on who you are, depending on how you see it. For some people, this is better than execution, and for other people, this is worse. There is no worse torture than this. And I love the fact that you can talk this out. However, I know I had mentioned just a few minutes ago about like wondering like, well, did the circle know? Did the circle not know? Or sorry, the chantry not know about the reversal. They say here, we didn't tell them anything. But what we did not give them, so this says the sacrifice of the good, they gave it to the circle, right? Thus the Circle of Magi was born. We gave them the most holy right we possessed. So they're saying here specifically, they did not give it to the circle. They're not saying that they didn't give it to the chantry or that the chantry didn't know. Because remember, the chantry came from the Inquisition. Seekers of truth are what was left of the Inquisition. So there's still a very big case to be made for they knew. They very much could have known. And you know how they like to keep their mages on a leash kind of thing. Also, if we remember, there was a codex entry that I read probably mid-beginning of my DA2 Let's Play, where it talks about how the mages actually hated being under the chantry because the chantry was having them do things like lighting candles and stuff like that. And there was this whole like how the circle was actually created because the mages wanted to break away from the chantry. They wanted freedom, and they thought seclusion in a tower was better than what the chantry was doing to them. And so that's, at least in that, from that lore, which I don't know if that was a Brother Jenna TV one or not, shows then, so you can kind of connect the dots here. So then the Seekers of Truth gave them this right. But the chantry had to give their blessing for everything. And that's how Templars got stationed there. That's kind of how Templars started and everything. Like, they took the Seekers, but they made like a slightly underling version. And then they were like, here you go babysit the mages. It's very curious the way that all happened. And then this is a spirit. Oh. Wait, we haven't read this one. This one's interesting. When summoning ritual was complete, the spirit appeared. Both spirits and demons have no gender as we understand it, but this one, much like the rare and dangerous desire demon, presented as female. Although its form was not threatening, the spirit carried itself with a confidence and awareness, I suppose, that I've only seen in the most powerful of demons. This spirit of wisdom was polite and courteous. It answered our question about the Fade, even acknowledging the difficulty when we could not understand what it meant. There was none of the bargaining one normally associates with a summoned creature, save that the spirit sometimes asked us questions as well. Harris shared a mathematical formula he had recently proven, while Etrine explained her study on magical themes in the Chant of Light. And young Reese talked a little about his mother. Which, is that Windsun? When we were finished, the spirit thanked us for the conversation and then vanished. Although none of us had dismissed it, we soon discovered that the summoning ritual we had devised was critically flawed. The spirit had been under no compulsion to come or remain. All the time it had talked with us, it had stayed of its own volition. Harris was greatly concerned that such a powerful spirit remained free, and has updated the ritual to correct for the weakness in the binding enchantment. I understand his caution, but I also confess that I quite enjoyed the conversation. I am not certain the spirit would have talked so freely had it been shackled. It wouldn't have. That was a mutual conversation. That was two beings just getting to know each other. Oh man, what good codex entries. What a good quest line. What good thoughts. Not good in that they were happy, but good in that, like, you know, you could kind of go down these holes and like kind of think about and talk about. What happened was absolutely horrific, though. My goodness, poor Cassandra. All right, so let's go to the plains for. Oh wait, no. First maybe Bull, but then after that, we'll do some stuff. I'm thinking maybe the plains. I kind of want to go. Maybe we do that before we go talk to Bull, just to like space some of this stuff out.